I watched your face die backwards, little baby, in my memory. You told me victory's sweet, even deep in the cheap seats.
Hey Tristan, not had the results I've wanted over the last week or so. My PT is telling me to drop crappy stuff like blue cheese sauce, pork rind, sausage, bacon, and fried cheese. But I thought these were fine on keto in steady amounts and portions. My carbs are not even 10 grams a day. And I'm just using green leafy vegetables again, normally covered in mayo or olive oil, but again told to drop the mayo, etc. Is lean/clean really important on keto? Alright, so Sean, I'm not sure exactly the context of this. Obviously you're going for fat loss though. So your goal is to lose body fat. You're telling me you've not gotten the results you've wanted over the last week or so. No. First of all, you shouldn't be expecting visible results in 1 week. No. I don't know how long you've been doing what you've been doing, but you've got to understand that 1 week is not really enough to gauge progress by. Right? If your scale hasn't moved in a week, that might not even mean that you're not making progress. But from the sounds of it, if you're truly not making progress, if the metrics that you're measuring, which, your waist size, jumping on the scale, how your clothes fit, if these are not going in the correct direction, then something's off. And what you've told me here, it sounds like you really actually know the answer. You say you were told to drop crappy stuff like blue cheese sauce, pork rinds, sausage, bacon, and fried cheese. Alright, let's go through just the list of the things that you considered crappy stuff right there. Sausage and bacon might not be so bad. Those are probably the least offensive thing on there. As far as like being a processed meat and being less optimal than something like a, delicious steak or a nice piece of fish or salmon or something. Besides them being more processed meats, there's nothing inherently wrong with it. They've both got a high fat content. And while you're trying to lose body fat on keto, remember you can either burn fat from your body or fat off of the plate. So we've got to find ways to cut fat back off of the plate, assuming that you've not just run yourself into such a huge deficit and are already in a huge deficit that's unsustainable, which it doesn't sound like you are. So what I would say is pull stuff like blue cheese sauce. All right, there you go, right there. Blue cheese sauce, pull that from the diet. Pork rinds, empty, high calorie food, tastes delicious, but it's empty energy that you're eating. So we want to cut back on the energy you're eating on fat so we can burn that energy from the body fat instead. This is a really common mistake that a lot of people make. They've been told that ketosis is achieved through dietary fatty acid elevation. In fact, ketosis is actually achieved through carbohydrate restriction. Yes, you can elevate your ketones through taking exogenous ketones, through eating a bunch of coconut oil, which has medium chain triglycerides that the liver will convert instantly into ketones. You can boost your ketones this way, but this doesn't mean that you're going to get the fat loss results that you want. And actually, the health benefits of a ketogenic diet, the most potent health benefits of keto, doesn't come from burning the dietary fat. It comes from burning body fat, the loss of insulin sensitivity that comes with excess adipose tissue. This is something that we can get rid of through burning that body fat and burning off that adipose tissue, especially the visceral fat around the organs and the belly. When you burn that fat off, you become much more insulin sensitive and all your metabolic health markers improve dramatically. So we do want to burn body fat also. You know where the most stem cells in your body are actually stored? A lot of people think it's in the marrow, which there's a significant amount in the marrow and other areas, but our adipose tissue stores the most available and abundant stem cells in our body. So to get the anti-inflammatory and regeneration properties of stem cells, we want to burn that body fat. So we want to pull out some of the empty fats. Blue cheese sauce, mayo, stuff like this, you can do without it. Right? So you want to cut back on some of the non-essential, non-micronutrient dense foods, pork rinds, stuff like that, and focus on getting foods in that are going to make you satiated. Get in enough protein. About 0.8 grams per pound of your lean body mass is sufficient. Yeah, you can do with a little less, and some people do great with a little more, but that's a nice safe number that most people will do well with, 0.8 grams per pound of your lean body mass. Get enough protein, keep those
vegetables in there. I see you like leafy greens. I'm not saying everybody's got to eat a bunch of leafy greens, but those can bring satiety really potently for some people. So I would keep those leafy greens in there. Just don't cover them in mayo like you said you've been doing, right? So foods like mayonnaise, blue cheese sauce, fried cheese, these are really easy to eat a lot of because they're hyper palatable, they're really good, and let's be honest, no one freaking measures mayo or cheese. You're not taking a tablespoon and putting your mayo in the tablespoon and knowing that you're getting 9 grams of fat from my tablespoon. You don't know that, man. Come on. You know you're just dumping that mayo on there. So back off on the mayo. You're going to want to cut back on the fats in order to hit your deficit and burn more body fat. Of course, I'm not saying starve yourself of fat. You still want to eat a decent amount of fat in the diet, but we want to force the body to burn some body fat. So your last question is lean/clean, really important on keto. Well, that depends on you, depends on your context, your trigger foods, what you're used to, and the habits that you've built, and it also depends on your goals. So lean/clean, those are kind of loaded terms anyways. I mean, those could mean anything to anybody. I would consider clean being not eating a bunch of processed foods, eating mostly foods that you prepare and make yourself, and keeping stuff like, mayo and stuff like that out of it. To me, that's more clean keto. So if that's your definition of clean, then sure, a little more clean might be better. But lean is, you don't necessarily have to do lean on keto. It doesn't mean you want to pass up on the fatty steaks. It just means you don't need to drench all your veggies in all the mayo, all the cheese sauce, and all the pork rinds and fried cheese. So back off on the stuff that you intuitively know is not optimal, is not nutrient dense. Focus on nutrient dense, satiating foods. Eat at the right time, right? So waiting too long before you eat can increase your hunger. You want to eat before you get super hungry if your goal is fat loss. So there you go. There's a few tips. Hope that helps. There's loads of so-called clean recipes available for free on our website. And use the Ketogenic Edge cookbook, Jessica's book, which we finally got available in print, to source some good nutrient-dense whole foods recipes that are satiating and that have fat loss-friendly macros. This is why in our books we don't drench all our foods in a bunch of fat. Right? We're not focused on macronutrient ratios because, as even Volek and Finney have said, kind of the godfathers of keto research, most people are focusing on eating too much fat and not realizing that that fat you're burning can come from the plate or it can come from your belly. It's up to you.